So now we have that, right, as a primal instinct, and then you add social media to it. Now you personally, you are not on Twitter, but you used to be.
I've quit Twitter.
You quit Twitter. Why did you quit Twitter? What happened? You broke up with Twitter.
Can I put this in Chicago language? Twitter wasn't doing shit for me.
Facebook?
And actually Twitter called me, somebody from Twitter called me, they wanted to know what happened.
Right.
And I told them basically that in kinder language. It's very obvious to me, and if anybody's interested, there's plenty of information coming out with what the social media oligarchs are now doing. Whether it's Facebook or Twitter and Instagram, it won't matter. The faces will change and the names will change, but this is going to be the same construct. Look no further than what Facebook is doing to magazines and newspapers. All their click rates are down like 60 to 80%. I think I read like Times was down, their Times sales went down like 60% in the last year.
People are reading on Facebook instead of going to the website of Time. Or...
Yeah, but it's slightly different. And I'll try to be quick about it because it's probably a bit off topic.
Because we're so on topic with the schedule and an outline, as you can tell in Conversations with Weigel.
Well, I don't know what's interesting. This is, I guess we're talking like we're
I want to know why
sitting
you
at
quit
the
Twitter. And you talk about how that we're creating a generation of narcissists because of Facebook.
Oh, we've already created a generation of
selfie stick
narcissists.
has ruined our world.
That ship has sailed.
Okay, correct.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah. And
Look no further than try to have a conversation with a millennial to know what I'm talking about.
Between the selfie stick and the texting, I mean, I was at dinner with 4 of them and nobody was looking at me. I was like, hi, and when we go to Mars later, is it cool with you guys if I park in front? And they're like, nobody cared. Nobody noticed. It's very frustrating, but it's the world. So how do you adapt to this? You quit Twitter, and then what?
Well, let me go back to my thing.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
I think
and time.
because I think it's kind of like how I started. I think if we understand these things from a bigger meta point of view, it's easier to relate it to our own experience rather than that's what I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Very fascinating, and I'll use an example because I think it's an easier way to illustrate it all. It's a slightly different model. MTV starts, right? They have nothing. So they have to go to all the labels and say, look, we want to play your videos. You know what I mean? We can't afford to pay for the content. We can't afford to pay you per minute what we would pay for real content like a show. So give us this free content, but in exchange we'll promote your things. And eventually, as everyone knows, MTV got so out of hand, they crushed the labels, ran their business models into the ground, and then basically turned MTV into a normal network off the backs of the musical artists. Pick your, Janet Jackson or whoever. They made gazillions off all these people. They still pretend to be a music network, which of course they're nothing like it. They're more like a socialist construct or something, 14 and pregnant,
Yeah.
But point is they cried poor in the beginning, they glommed onto somebody else's heat, to use a wrestling term. They transferred it to themselves and they eventually shot in the head the people who made them. Okay? So that's what Facebook and Twitter are all going to do now. Facebook's a little bit different because of the way it's set up. I think they have a better thing in the marketplace. I think as people like me are waking up to where Twitter's weak against, let's call celebrities and what celebrities bring to Twitter, I think you're going to start seeing a mass exodus.
Of social media in general?
Yeah, because what a Kim Kardashian brings to a Twitter is worth more than 400 people who have the same number of followers. So they take everything that a Kim Kardashian brings to a Twitter. Now in Kim Kardashian's case, she can turn that and sell cosmetics or her own clothing brand or whatever. But for people in the middle, which I would put people like us in the middle, we don't get that same exchange. We can't turn around and go get a shoe deal because we're tweeting something. And so in essence, Twitter and other social media platforms take and take and take from something that I built. My name, my music, my whatever, and they go, thanks a lot.
And then they repackage it.
I mean, Jimmy Chamberlain and I, when we brought the Pumpkins back in 2007, we sat down one day and we did the calculus. And we realized that for every, and this was almost 10 years ago now, we realized that for every 100 people we had on Facebook, we sold one record. So we were catering to 99 people to sell one thing. That is a really poor business exchange.
Don't you think the model has changed at all a little since 2007 though? With the way the traction is now? You don't think so?
No, because, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, because it can get really boring really fast.
No, we like that.
All right,
I'm learning.
I'll carry on.
This is wonderful. Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins currently have 4 million likes on Facebook. But if you're checking my site every day, and I put something like, hey, I took my dog for a walk, and a little picture, you'll see it. But the other 3.99 million people won't, because they're not visiting it every day. So what Facebook wants you to do is boost your posts. Or, and this is where we get into dumb land, you have to do really dumb stuff so that you click on it, and you click on it, and you click on it, so then it goes viral. So you create a culture where idiocy reigns and rules, not quality. Not quality. And we all know it, right? I'm not saying anything radical here. So you're creating a social ecosystem that rewards being inane.
So the counter of that is knowing a lot of comedians who use Facebook and Twitter to their advantage. If they're funny, which is their world, then it goes viral too, and that's their business. So maybe for them it's not so bad.
But see, I would jump on you right there and argue, because of the social mob construct of Facebook, how many comedians on Facebook are truly saying what they would really say in the world that Richard Pryor grew up in? I learned as a white kid growing up in the suburbs, and I had a lot of exposure because of my father being a musician to other cultures and other points of view.
Right.
But I learned from Richard Pryor because he was willing to say things that made me look at my world and go, oh, he's got a point about these people I'm growing up with who are outward racist or closet racist.
Right.
And his comedy and his social thinking and his brilliance made me look at my own race, white people, differently.
Right.
Okay? But if people can't have open conversations, if you have people like Jerry Seinfeld coming out and saying it's not even worth playing colleges anymore because the social justice warriors will be all over you the minute you step out of line. So, yes, you're right about a comedian using Facebook or a musician using Facebook, but I guarantee you that the minute they put something in those systems that doesn't align with the social justice mob mentality, the risk is too high. So you have a watering down of diversity and a homogenizing of general messaging. That, as an artist, is death.
So are we then going